Once upon a time in middle school, there was a lonely boy named Joe. He was sad and alone because everybody around him were losers and mean people. He was woefully misunderstood by everyone until he met this one girl. She wasn't like the other girls. She was smart. She was artsy. She liked Harry Potter.
There's just something about her. She's not like anyone else.
Clearly, no other girl like her ever existed before. The most unique girl in the world had just shown up to save Joe, to show him how to be happy and save him from himself.
See, I have a gift. Special ability to help men with problems.
That was her job, like some sort of magical fairy. A Manic Pixie Dream Girl.
I don't know. I wasn't...
I was that girl. But that wasn't how the story went. Not really. But Joe was living this fairy tale at my expense. In case you'd never heard this term before, a Manic Pixie Dream Girl is a pop culture trope. Usually in films, but I've seen this plenty of times in novels. Film critic Nathan Rabin first coined the term, described the Manic Pixie Dream Girl as a girl who exists solely in the fevered imaginations of sensitive writer-directors to teach broodingly soulful young men to embrace life and its infinite mysteries and adventures. In other words, these were characters with no backstory, no inner life, and no reason to exist except to magically improve the lives of these sensitive sad boys, then poof, disappear into pixie dust because he didn't need her anymore. Real people are not Manic Pixie Dream Girls, but after so many films in the mid-2000s who really lived and died by this type of character, a lot of people got the idea this is the ideal story. Lonely boys could look to these characters and wish they'd meet one someday, and their whole lives would change.
What are you listening to?
The Shins. You know them?
No.
You gotta hear this one song. It'll change your life, I swear.
And girls would look at these stories and get the idea that they were only meant to serve as side characters to a guy's story. Always the Manic Pixie Dream Girl, never the main character. When I was in middle school, like a lot of people, it was one of the worst times of my life, and I thought things got better after I met my friend Joe Schmo. Let me repeat that for anyone who doesn't get this on the first try. I was a girl who was friends with a boy. I'm sure you, my viewer, are very smart and got that the first time. But I know a lot of people who I guess thought that was impossible.
Boy and girl not friend. Boy and girl date. That is how work.
I must have gone to school with a lot of cavemen. What I didn't know was Joe, too, was a caveman.
Joe think girl cool. Must have girl.
No, bad Joe. I met Joe when I was 13 years old. It was less than a year after I had a pretty bad falling out with my childhood best friend Courtney. And I was really hoping to make some new friends. So, first day of school in science class, when I got paired up with two boys, and one of them seemed really nice, I pulled out all the stops. I was like Jim from The Office, and Joe was the audience. I'd crack jokes, I was relentlessly positive, we both hated the other boy we sat with, and everyone he said was mean to him, I wholeheartedly believed him and told him I knew what that was like. I'd been bullied plenty. I wanted him to have courage and not let those losers and bullies get him down.
Then have the courage to fail big and stick around. Make them wonder why you're still smiling.
And go play Harry Potter, which for him was a big deal. I guess he'd never met a quirky, artsy joker who didn't mind being a dork before. I know there's lots of us, though.
I'm not used to girls like you.
That's because I'm one of a kind.
I was stubborn and weird and went against the grain. One of the reasons I'm sure is having a hard time making new friends in middle school. Most tweens have better luck trying to blend in from what I've heard. But to Joe, I was the answer to all his problems. He wanted me to take him out of his comfort zone and improve his life. He wanted, after knowing me, to be different, better, happier person with a love life. He figured I didn't have any of my own problems, I was there specifically for him, put on this earth in his class across from him to entertain and teach him. I probably shouldn't have to say this, but here goes. I'm not a life lesson for sad boys I happen to meet.
You guys think I'm a concept, or I complete them, or I'm gonna make them alive. Top girl who's looking for my own peace of mind. Don't assign me yours.
Of course, eventually, Joe did figure that out. And when he did, oh boy, did he get angry. How dare I change between the ages of 13 when I met him and 18 when he finally got tired of me? How dare I get new interests he didn't share with me, like punk music and black t-shirts? And how dare I point out the times he was being a bully to other people? How selfish of me! Manic Pixie Dream Girls aren't supposed to do that. They're not supposed to have minds of their own, goals, or disagree with the main character. Except that's the point. I'm my own main character, just like everyone else. I'm not just a leading lady in his story. And people like him might never understand that. I even told him right from the get-go, I wasn't looking to date anyone.
I just don't feel comfortable being anyone's girlfriend.
And I kept saying that for pretty much as long as I knew him. And he made it seem like he felt the same way. What a big fat lie that was. For years, there was a very persistent rumor going around that we were dating. People I'd never even met before seemed pretty sure about this. Even my ex-best friend Courtney heard this and thought it had to be true. And I'd politely go around telling everyone who was confused, oh, no, we're just really good friends, with a smile on my face. Joe would be absolutely silent anytime that happened. I assumed that was him being shy and awkward, but sometimes I wonder if he resented me correcting that. Maybe he was the one spreading that rumor. Or at the very least, really liked that lie. It wouldn't be the first time something like that happened to me. It's the whole reason Courtney didn't want to be friends with me anymore. There was another boy everyone assumed I was dating before Joe. Dang, it's like girls can't be near boys without accidentally dating them. Joe would swear to me up and down that he never felt that way about me. And we were totally on the same page. Just good friends. It was kind of a one-sided friendship, even if that was true though. He'd share all his problems with me and any random thought that would float into his head. I was like his walking, talking journal. Except I could also tell him people were mean and comfort him. But Joe, he didn't know anything about my problems unless it included him. If it was a mean person we agreed was mean, then great, he'd tell me they're mean to him too, and tell me all about his story. And suddenly, it would be all about him. It would take me a while to remember, hang on, I was the one telling the story. For instance, he really hated Courtney. He'd talk about her all the time. I had no idea why though. I'd placed bets he hated her much more than I ever did. And I knew her for 6 years before we had our issues. Joe barely knew her. Manic Pixie Dream Girls don't get backstories. Joe assumed if he tried hard enough, he'd eventually be the leading man in my life. Even if he needed to try to change me to make that happen.
I told you I could make you do anything. I write it. You do it.
And yes, he admitted to someone that he tried to change me during high school, so I'd be more like I was back in middle school. I assumed that he was a good friend, instead of the self-centered jerk he turned out to be. I guess we were both wrong. The Manic Pixie Dream Girl is a mostly dead trope these days, and I'm glad. It'll hopefully keep more nice guys like Joe from putting that kind of pressure on some unsuspecting girl.
Quirky, messy women whose problems only make them endearing are not real.
And girls will be at least a little more likely to believe that they have their own stories, not just supporting roles in someone else's story. If you like my story, and want to see more of my videos, subscribe to my channel, and give this video a like, because, well, I'd like that, but also, I know the way YouTube works. Interaction makes videos go to more people, and I want everyone who needs this to be able to find it. Every girl who needs to remember she's the main character of her own story, not the side character of someone else's. That's all for now. See you in the next one. Bye, guys.